Hey, everybody. This is your just-in-time Metaphysical Matters, and you all just missed it. Angela just had to spring up from the table and give chase to a dog with a chicken leg because the cat had knocked the bowl with the chicken leg off of the counter, and then the dog took off with it. And then Angela jumped up and took off with it.
Also known as my lunch. Yeah. Thank you, Bam Bam. Now, Bam Bam's up here looking for something else he can knock off. And my cats, I don't know, they're just getting weirder and weirder. They want to, as you know, fight shoes and do unmentionable things to them. And then the other cat.
Hey, Judy from Kansas. Hey.
He wants to come in and carry on. He's got a sweet little mew that he does to make us give him some food out of a special little can thingy we have. And so he gets it. Then he waits till I'm gone. Then he goes up to my husband outside and does that little mew, gets him another little can. So he has learned to manipulate, separate us, and then conquer by getting double the food. And they have dry food anytime they want it, the kind they like. They get handfuls of treats left and right, but still they want not one can of the canned food, but two. And I'm probably going to be drinking cat hair when I have my tea. I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, you got a smart kitty.
I got a smart aleck kitty.
First of all, I want to tell y'all that this is going to be our last show until after the new year because we're going to take 2 weeks off. Angela only wanted to take 1 week off, but I wanted to take 2 weeks off. I'm just ready for it.
That's fine. I might be doing some vlogging and I might not. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
And like I said, we don't even know how long we're going to do this anyway. We may never do another show. We may do 10 more. Who knows?
Yes,
Who knows? We're going to do what we do until we don't.
First of all, I wanted to say that anybody who's interested can watch you on Psychic Detectives, right? Is it on Amazon or Netflix?
Did I tell you that?
Yes, you did.
Okay, yeah, because I actually posted it because we were messing around with the TV trying to find something to watch, and I saw all of a sudden Psychic Detectives, and I thought, what? And then I clicked on that, and there I was. I was the number one person of the show. So it was
wow.
Oh my God. So, of course, I had to watch it. I had to fast forward. I can't stand to see myself like that. But Dylan, he was like really impressed.
Well, of course.
Yeah, he thinks I'm like somebody now.
Well, that's very cool. But anyway, it's on Netflix or Amazon?
No, it's on Amazon Prime. It'll cost you $2, I think, to watch it.
Okay. Well, I'll have to.
I wouldn't pay it, but
oh, come on.
But man, I tell you what, I was young and good looking. It's like, what happened?
And what was the
ravages of time?
What's the gist of that episode?
That wasn't my good. Here's what gets me about that. That was I do not feel I am surprised they were able to make a show out of that because I really don't feel like I did all that. Although I did accurately predict how it would be found and when it would be found. And I don't think they even told all this stuff. So I did do good, if I do say so myself, which don't mean I'm going to do good for anybody else. I don't know if I can do. I never know what's going to happen. But the good show I was actually scary good, but that will never be made into a show because it was there was some evidence got lost and they couldn't do anything until it could cause, they can't do anything until everything's resolved. And by the time things was resolved, people had quit, moved on, and this, that, and the other. So
yeah,
but that was disappointing to me. It's like the one good case, the one that I probably saw in my entire life where we were not even looking for this guy. And I told the sheriff, because we had been out looking for that guy, and I told the sheriff, this guy, and I told her his name. I said, he needs you to find him. He's buried at a certain place, and his brother or his sister did. It's about drugs or something like that. I don't remember now. It's been a long time ago. And, time goes on. And then I had a notion to call her one day. I don't know why. And she says, you're not going to believe where we are. We're at that guy's the name you told us. We're at his house. He had been murdered by his brother-in-law, I think, or sister, or both, and was buried out there in the yard.
Wow.
And it's like, dang, why can't I do that all the time? If I could do that all the time, I would probably be rich and famous rather than just semi-famous in certain circles. But anyway, I don't know why it happens the way it happens.
I'm immediately interested in what Pat has just put up here. And by the way, thank you for all the nice hellos from everybody. And Pat says, last week y'all talked about repeating numbers. I had my car serviced and the cost was the same numbers as my street address. Pat, I've been seeing that all week, and I've heard, and other people have been talking about these repeating numbers and numbers that match up like crazy like that, crazy coincidences with numbers. Have you been seeing that too?
Actually, it was kind of funny because I came upon one of my Facebook memories where I had mentioned something about numbers. It hadn't happened lately, but I was reading about it this week. I had gone to 3 or 4 different stores, and every single one, the change came up to 7 cents. It was like 3 to 4 stores, and every one. So I do think, as I've said repeatedly, these are guideposts, and I think when you see it, like, to get your attention, you can what does this number represent? But you could you could go to find that out. But you could also just say, it's a guidepost. I'm supposed to pay attention to decisions I'm making, where I'm going. Am I okay? Is this where I need to be? Is this what I'm supposed to do right now?
Well, speaking of repeating numbers, and mine this week had been 4s. Before I get into this story, I wanted to bring up, I had a girl come over to record some stuff at my house for the museum, the little radio show that we record. She recorded quite a few things. She did multiple takes on some stuff. And I went in there to turn off the recorder. She'd been recording for 44 minutes and 44 seconds. And then the next day, 44, 44, 44 came up all day long. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. And I believe she and I had talked about repeating digits
and
as well.
And I also think 4, Kim, in this case, for you, not that you asked, but I think that's a power number. And I think that means that right now you want to be paying attention to career stuff, money stuff, and your path that you want to go into. It's also about taking charge, taking hold of your authority, your inner authority, and then how that relates to you in the real world. So there, have that. Merry Christmas.
All right. Speaking of repeating digits, today is 12/12, and the full moon was at its apex at 12/12 this morning. And this is also, our year is a 12 as well. If you reduce down the 2 plus 1 plus 1, plus 9, reduces to a 12 before you reduce it to a 3. So this is a really powerful day.
That's interesting. And to me, what I want to comment on that is I'm going to reduce it down to a 3. Okay. And a 3 is it's a garden time. It's about planting seeds. And when you have a lot of 3s come up, you want to make sure that you're planting the seeds that you want to grow.
12/12, see, millennium.
Yeah, you don't want the kudzu taking over your garden. So you have to be careful. Are you planting seeds of love that return back to you, or proper decisions, caretaking, or are you planting seeds of despair and anger and rage? And if you are, you need to do some soul searching and some weeding, because the plants that are sown during a garden year, the energy that is sown in a garden year will carry more weight. Whereas one time you might plant something, nothing really comes of it. This time, when it's that kind of time, that means whatever you're doing, if you're getting 12s and 3s coming up, whatever you're doing right now, you need to pay attention to it, because you are planting a seed that's going to bear fruit later, whether it's sweet or sour. That's what you got to pay attention to.
Okay. One other thing is this year, 2012 is the end of a 7-year cycle. And I think my understanding is that 7-year cycles are significant. Mm-hmm. This year, 2019, I said 2012, but that 7-year cycle started in 2012. So I think this is like just a super powerful time.
I think it is. And obviously, read the news. Everything is being destroyed so it can be rebuilt, and it will be rebuilt Absolutely. In a better way, or it's going to be another hard lesson in life. It's going to be, you burn it down, you rebuild it. What's you going to build back? That's what the question is. And how is it going to be built back? And that's what you got to be thinking about.
Those of you who are watching that live around here, we had the strangest fog that rolled in day before yesterday. I've heard several people comment that it seemed like a spookier than average fog. And then yesterday, it would lift. When you have a fog overnight, in the morning it lifts and you're
Mm-hmm.
done. It would lift and it would settle again. It would lift and settle again. It did during the day. And it gave me a really weird feeling. I just wonder if you had any thoughts about that fog. It just seems strange.
I did notice it, but to be honest, I kind of just figured it was just me. So it's kind of interesting that you're saying that, because, I thought, how I am. I just assume, well, it's just me feeling something, but and I don't really pay attention, maybe like I should. But it did have an eeriness to it, and I did notice it. I noticed it quite a bit. So I don't have a comment on that to say maybe the weather was reflective of the energy that is abundant right now in the universe.
I'm looking at what Christina wrote there about waking up at 3:33 every night now.
I wonder, Christina, if you're waking up knowing it's 3:33, because, a lot of times you wake up in the night, you got an internal clock. You're going to look, it's going to be this time or that time. But as we've been talking, and I've talked to other people, a lot of people are waking up, and even though you're normally good at knowing what time it is, it's like crazy off. You wake up, it's 3 in the morning, and you think it's time to get up and go to school or work or whatever. So there seems to be an issue with time. It makes me wonder if there isn't like a little bit of I know I have to give this analogy again of a bed that's been made, and let's say, it's time, it's the comforter that's on it, but the comforter is still there, still on the bed, still in place, but yet it looks like maybe a cat's been walking around on a little bit, causing a little bit of wrinkle or a little dip here and there. Kind of feels like time is like that right now, where maybe there's a little bit of something going on that is not really messing it completely up, but messing it up enough to where it makes you notice that, this is a little different. Maybe this is repeating. Maybe I did skip universes where, this thing where the little Monopoly man did have a monocle or whatever. So maybe there's a lot of different things that we do not understand. And I believe I told you before about this science-minded thing plus this paranormal-minded thing. I don't see why it's not all science-minded. Just because we do not have the tools at our disposal yet to explain things does not mean that it isn't explainable. It just means that we are not at that place in our personal evolution or in our scientific knowledge yet to know. So we just decide, something doesn't exist, or because we just don't know what the words are to describe it yet.
Right. Well, we kind of got serious there faster than I really thought we would. I wanted to ask you, before we get any farther, about, did I already ask you if there were any themes for the week?
I was texting you a bunch of stuff. I posted some stuff too, like maybe things of like curses that there's a site that I go to on here. It's a closed site, girl, I can't think of her name, Daily Paranormal, that I go to on here and see what she's posted in her perusing. And sometimes I get ideas from her, and I do actually get ideas from other people and from my own experiences as well, of course. But one of the things she had posted was about Egyptian curses. And that started me thinking, as you know, I generally poo-poo the idea of people having generational curses, because the main reason, to be honest, is because you have people that go see a fortune teller and they're told that your whole family's been cursed and I will move it for $1,000. I don't believe like that. I think that's possible maybe to put on a curse, but I also feel they fall off, that you can, decide that, what, I'm pushing this back. You don't need to worry about stuff like that. Let it go. Okay. You go around believing stuff like that, you're empowering it. Okay. Now, having said that, objects that are cursed, and I think it's just really interesting. And I know they say statistically, these things are bound to happen. It's not true, because statistically speaking, this person would have died, this person would have died, this, that, and the other. And again, having said all that, I still find it really interesting when you read about, some object that has been cursed by some ancient being, and it's like all of a sudden these things happen, and everybody's trying to say, well, this is the reason why, and science. And maybe they just don't understand the science behind the curse. But I like this one story about this jewel, and I don't know what diamond it was, but it's a very important diamond, and everybody that come in contact with it was dropping dead like flies. And finally somebody got it. Maybe it's going to Smithsonian. It was being shipped across from Europe to be put in a museum or a private owner. I don't know. Look it up, because I forgot to look it up. I didn't have time to look it up. And they shipped it over. But guess what happened?
What?
They shipped it on the Titanic.
Maybe that's why the Titanic went down.
Might have helped. It might have helped.
That's interesting. Of all the things that I've heard about the Titanic, I didn't know that. That is very interesting. Huh.
And that is the last of my tea. I want you to know that was some good tea. Thank you. She made it.
Not really. When I was getting the hot water ready for the tea, I got her cup, and then she came over, and I swear it was like this endless river of sugar that went in that cup.
I was hoping she'd turn her head so I could get it in there quick. So I was putting not whole spoonfuls, little bits of spoonfuls. So if she saw it, she'd think, well, that's not much sugar. And then I was hoping she'd turn her head so I could put the big spoonfuls of sugar. Since she didn't, I just had to continually put little bits of sugar. Yeah, Robert Williams, I think it was, Karen, I always thought it was the Hope Diamond, and I started to say Hope Diamond, but honestly, my memory is so sad lately, I was afraid it might not be the right one. So you can look it up.
Hey, I wanted to ask you something about music today. You and I talked about music one time, a long time ago, when we did the radio version of Metaphysical Matters. And you talked about the power of music. And I was thinking about this in terms of Christmas music. That's one of the, I know that's one of the best things about this time of the year is you get to hear the kind of music that unfortunately, culturally, we kind of poo-poo now. It's out of fashion. But then all of a sudden for a month, it's okay to listen to it. And it's the stuff that makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if you talk a minute about the power of music.
Well, first of all, let me just throw this out there since that reminded me of this. There's studies that show that people who have depression, like mild depression especially, you know, you want to listen to the sad music and stuff, and that's good. It helps you. But if you start like with your playlist or your stack of records, if you collect records, start with the sad and then gradually put things on that are uplifting. And by the time you get to the joyful stuff, very often it will actually have affected you in such a way that you get past your depression. Because, you know, when you're depressed, you don't want to hear enough happy music.
Yeah.
But doing it that way can actually help, and it won't hurt to try it. But yeah, I think that music resonates with us, and I think there's some studies that talk about how some music even resonates with animals, like in, you know, dogs in vets' offices and shelters and whatnot. That I think they responded best. I believe it was classical.
Yeah, classical music has got a whole lot going on that I didn't appreciate for a long time. Yeah, there's something very spiritual about a lot of classical music. But talking about Christmas music, my cat Fuzzy, the big guy that, you know, that we rescued, or he actually rescued himself at our house, he hates Perry Como.
How funny is that?
He will listen to anything except Perry Como. When Perry Como comes on singing, you know, any of his Christmas stuff, Fuzzy hits the door and he sits at the door and looks back in the house with his ears back, and he
that
just
is hilarious.
A low growl.
Poor thing.
I know.
Poor Perry. I think that's hilarious. I'll tell you, if anybody likes music, that you know, my thing, if you got Pandora, you can go and tell your Alexis, if you got that, to ask Pandora, if you have Pandora, like I said, to play Smooth Christmas Jazz Station. It's better than Alexa's Amazon Smooth Jazz Station. It is. So just ask it to do that if you like that kind. I love it. And I like especially that stuff, that trio, the Charlie Brown guy.
Vince Guaraldi
trio. I know exactly who that is. Why can I not get his? Especially Christmas time is here. I swear that song speaks to my spirit. I cannot stand it. And you can actually ask it to play the soundtrack from Charlie Brown Christmas and hear all of it in order, which is also awesome because it's my favorite. But also you can ask it to play, or you can Google it, go to YouTube and do it for you. George Winston, Walking in the Air, theme from Snowman.
Okay.
I would sing it for you, but I'd hate to ruin it. But and also I'm not a choir boy, which there's two versions. One version, there is nobody singing. It's just purely instrumental. The other one has a choir boy singing the chorus, and I like that one best. Okay, but they're both. I can't listen to you. You need to understand. I cannot listen to that without being almost in tears, if not in tears. And this is proven the whole point, by the way, of how music affects us spiritually. You know, you grow up around here. You go to church. The fundamental churches, the one thing they got going for them that I hope never changes for them, they got good music. Yeah. They got the bluegrass kind of gospel, which is cultural. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I started going to a different church where they have the Beethoven stuff and all that. I miss the bluegrass gospel. That's the kind that gets in you and moves you.
You know, I'm not a big fan of bluegrass.
I care for it, but I like it when I like it, and I don't like it any other time.
I was just looking at what Nicole wrote here about the hertz of music, like 432 versus 440. It's interesting, April, because I brought a little bit of information about that. From what I've read, traditionally music was tuned, the middle A or the La was tuned at 432 hertz. And then sometime, some stories say that the Nazis did this, but I think it might have actually happened before that. It was retuned to 440 hertz. And what happened when
no
that
idea what that means.
they lowered, no, they changed the vibration of the music. And what happens, the 432 is in sync with human energy and with the earth. It matches the Schumann resonance. It's more resonant. And they changed that. And so it's now, after that, music became more discordant. Some of the best of the old composers like Mozart and Verdi, they've composed in that frequency. But anyway, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, give me an idea, because I'm very ignorant about this. This is why she's the smart one. She's the one that's been to college.
Oh yeah,
I went to college.
Like
I
that
didn't
makes a
graduate.
difference. Okay, right there you see water molecule with a 432 hertz tone, and then with a 440.
Now, that's interesting.
Yeah. So the 432, which is what people used to, that was the standard tuning. That was much more resonant with the human spirit and much more healthful. And then it was changed to 440 and became more discordant.
I wonder how that would affect plants too, because they're finding more and more now about plants and their nature, which I've been saying all along. People can feel the trees, they can feel the plants, and now new evidence studies have come out to show that they actually do have a lot more complex life than we were given to understand or believe.
Oh yeah,
that's just kind of horrible in a way.
That's another example of, we poo-poo what we don't understand. They're not moving around like we are, so they must be ignored. But anyway, I just want to bring that music thing up because I just think that's really interesting. I mean, if you want to,
way to go, April, for thinking like that. That's smart.
If if you're more of a conspiratorial kind of person, you look at that and go, well, now they did it again. They changed our music to lower our resonance. I don't know, but it happened.
And I don't know how to respond to that either. All I know is, because I come at it from not a technical, you're the technical person, and I am not. I'm the emotional person, I guess you might say. So I come at it more from the way that it speaks to my spirit. And I don't know why certain music does and why some doesn't. Of course, I do when it's situational. If I hear blues, which I love, speaking to, any personal thing I've experienced, of course it's going to resonate with me. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But that's interesting how a vibration of something you're not even aware of resonates with your physical being, your physical thing. I'm thinking now how the Army used all that loud music down there in
Panama.
Yeah, to roust that guy.
Noriega.
That was torture for sure.
Yeah. Well, it makes you think about, I don't want to sound like an old fogey, but some of the music that I hear booming out of cars sometimes, I'm thinking that's not healthy to be in that vehicle with that sound.
Space in my house sometimes, and Jamie, my daughter, when she was a little bitty girl, though, she said that she loved to hear music that had a lot of bass. She says, I love it because I can feel it in my heart. But she didn't mean emotional. She liked the way the bass actually made her heart vibrate. It's like, this is not good.
Okay, let's switch gears. We've been talking about UFOs a lot, of course, because
that's what we do. And I said I was going to take a picture. Look, I didn't take any pictures, by the way, but I did last night. Got it, or not before last, one or the other. Somebody sent me a message telling me that they were sitting there watching something zipping all over the place. But I went out and looked, and there was, like, again, this little line, and it had lights going around it. It wasn't moving. It wasn't
over here at Mount Ida?
No, it's closer to my house. It's moving in. But it was, I don't know what it was. James didn't want to go look at it because he'd already laid down, and I was coming in to find my binoculars, and it was so cold, and I was already standing outside in my underwear. So I just let it go. But it was,
well, maybe that's why they were coming over here.
It's just this little line. It's not a planet, it's not a star, because it's a line. But and I did see one red light, and I thought, oh, it's an airplane, but it's not moving. And then I noticed that the lights are going around, and that's twice now I've seen it. And I'm not the only person that's seen it, because I have a neighbor over here who actually stopped by one day. She says, I see UFOs over your house all the time.
Really?
Yeah. This is an educated person who actually drives a super fancy car, and was telling me that. And it's like, what? But it happened a long time ago. I thought I told you about that.
I don't know that you did. If you did, my memory banks were erased.
So again, UFO, I didn't say she saw a flying saucer, because I'm sure she would like, that would be a whole nother animal, but she has seen lights over evidently my house that she is not understanding what they are.
How interesting. I was just looking at what Gabrielle wrote here. Just interesting thing to just take in. I've been saying it for years. When we pray from a place instead of to a place, molecular matter changes in our experience. That's interesting to think about. Certainly where you're praying from is important regardless.
You have to pray from a place of belief. You got to believe that somebody out there is listening, or that the power that be, the energy that surrounds you, has the ability to change with that vibration. Everything that exists vibrates, as I've told you 100 times, and all those vibrations can be changed by thought. Don't you find it interesting when they're talking about these atoms or this molecular material? And again, you have to forgive me because I can't make words like I used to. And yet they actually look at these things and they behave a certain way. They don't look at them and they behave a certain way.
That's quantum physics right there.
That right there is the basis of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basis, and including probably prayer and stuff like that. Because when you come from a place of faith and you think that you believe in this thing, then maybe there is a reason. And then that's why I tell people, when you put out energy, you let it go. You gotta not hang on to it. How many times have I said that? When you put out the energy, you have to let it go. You distract yourself, you put it aside, you go on. Because if you don't, you hang on to it, nothing happens. Well, when I heard this about the quantum physics, I thought, that's what I've been saying. I didn't know that's what I was saying, but that's it. Because as long as you're looking at it, it can't change. You have to let it go, which is hard when you're having great anxiety.
That's a cool way to think about that. Well, while we got to touch on UFOs, and it's especially, I think, powerful when it's when you have a sighting from a real person. I mean, we read articles and that's cool, but this was an email that was sent to you yesterday, actually.
This might be what I was just referring to.
Okay. Anyway, and by the way, this was forwarded from your old email address, suspect's daughter. Remind me of why that you had your email address as suspect's daughter.
Because it just entertained me.
It was like something from a news story or something.
It was, I don't know. I was just reading stuff, and I don't know. There was somebody had been in trouble, and the suspect said this or suspect said that, and I was going to put the suspect's mother, but my son had gotten a ticket and all this kind of stuff. It's got to go to court, and this has been many years ago. So anyway, I thought, it's a little bit too close to home, so I changed it.
Suspect's daughter. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Hey, Angela, I watch your show each week, and I just wanted to tell you what I just saw. I took my dog out to use the bathroom, and I assume it's the dog using the bathroom, and saw lights and knew it wasn't an airplane. We have planes that come through here all the time, but this was different. The lights were moving, but not in the rhythm of an airplane, and it was a double-decker set of lights. I kept watching it until I couldn't see it anymore. I came back inside and sat down on the bed, and something caught my eye. I looked outside, and there's another one coming from the opposite direction. And I stood at the front door watching it. It was really low, and it made absolutely no sound. I looked up online what a drone looks like, because her son had said maybe it's a drone in the night sky, and whatever this looked like was nothing like a drone. I just wanted to share this with you. I'm excited. I'll be watching for some more. So
yeah,
that's very close here.
That was why I have no idea where she is. Okay. That was what I was referring to. That's why I decided to go out and look last night. Okay. And it was just so cold, and I couldn't bring myself to stand out there any longer.
Well, I'm thinking about it. I just glanced down here and saw my note. Last week we talked about the Mandela effect, different timelines, and you just mentioned it a second ago. I ran across a website that you might want to check out just for fun. It's called alternatememories.com, where they catalog all this kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, alternatememories.com.
Awesome. I think that is just really intriguing to me to hear about. It's like not one person making this, but a whole bunches of million people believing in the same thing. It does make you wonder, this whole thing, if there's a glitch in the matrix or something that's,
I know,
some sort of big experiment to let's just see what we can do with people's memories.
Okay, let's look at a couple of texts that you sent me this week. Mm-hmm. She sends me these texts. I don't know what
random.
Yeah, just kind of random, and I just write them down, and then I ask you what they mean. Okay, here we go.
I don't even remember at the time.
Typing is slow when someone else's words.
That was the thing I was thinking about. Whenever God help us all that I actually did that you have to type out things, and it was actually on a typewriter, or like when back in school I had to type, look over here at this paper to learn how to type and do this. And I was terrible typist, so slow and make all grades of mistakes. Okay, then when I type my own, I'm just like typing like from my book, or I'm typing an email, I'm typing my thoughts, right? I am like crazy good typist, but it's also on the computer. The fear is taken out because it ain't nothing to just, backspace and this. But whereas you're doing the typing, you're actually going to have to physically do this. I actually had a short stint as working for a newspaper down in the old board that got fired. I got fired a lot when I was young, but that was because I'd make so many mistakes. Well, that's, I think, how it is if you transfer that same energy in life. I think sometimes when we let ourselves be our true being and we do what we're supposed to do, we're making our own kind of music. I think we can actually excel, and we can do so much, and we don't even think about it. We can live in life in a bigger, better, less mistake-ridden way. But I think when we try really hard to be somebody else's typist or somebody else's idea of what they think we should be, or we're trying, even if they don't, to live by someone else's script, you might say, it's hard to play by somebody else's script. It's hard to get the words right. So I think sometimes if you find yourself in a situation where it's like you're doing everything you're supposed to do, nothing is still not going, maybe you need to take a step back and redirect your energy and start writing your own manuscript to your own life and see what happens. That was it. It was just...
That's really profound.
That is my blog kind of thing right there.
Yeah, if you're going to type your own words.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. Stepping into the future in a dream.
I think we mentioned that before, but it seems like that's, you always ask who I'm seeing this week. It's all been Tauruses, a few Leos, and Pisces. Okay, now anyway, just for funsies, I like to tell you the current trend.
Any unifying concern of those people?
Oh, I don't remember, okay. So probably not.
Okay, but stepping into the future in a dream.
Well, as I've told you before, I believe that sometimes I have people come here and, well, like the lady today, it's like she is so familiar, and I know I've seen her, and I believe that she has been out of her body. Did I ever give you exercises on how to do that, by the way? If not, I need to do that.
I think you did, but refresher would be good.
Well, I don't know. They might be bored of that. But anyway, what was I talking about?
Stepping into the future.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting in the zone. The bad news is I'm getting addle-minded. Good news is I'm getting in the zone. I might do something interesting. But, yeah, I think that I told you before, that I've had dreams of people, and in fact, they show up later. But a lot of times I don't remember the dream. It's just somebody will come in like today, and they look so familiar, feel so familiar, and I get to talking to them. And I realized, I dreamed you last night. And I don't think I really dreamed them. I believe they were stepping out of their body into my, like SpongeBob, he went cloud hopping into everybody else's dreams and got in a lot of trouble for doing it. I think we kind of do that too. I think we're actually out traveling, and sometimes we go ahead. We go step ahead into our own future a little bit to see what's going to happen if I go down there and see that psychic kind of thing or whatever. Or I might step ahead into the future and I see the person that's going to be coming next. And it was just a thought that I do think that we often not only travel, like from cloud to cloud, to put it in SpongeBob terms, dream cloud to dream cloud, but we actually maybe go into our own future to get a glimpse of what is coming, or what we need to prepare for, or what we need to maybe just need to get a little heads up on.
Okay. By the way, that was Melinda who this email was from. And her sighting was in Claremont, which is, as my mama would say, yon side of Hickory.
I hope you don't mind that we shared that, Melinda.
Okay, something else that you had sent me last week that we did not get to, and you may not remember what this was about now, was about interspecies communication. Like one animal communicating with the other.
I know what species are.
Okay. Not species, I meant the interspecies.
Actually, I was thinking, does she mean aliens or does she mean like dogs?
Yeah, I think we're talking animals.
Okay, because actually I wasn't sure. I think that I've told people before, if you want to train your dog, and I'm having trouble with my babies, they sort of getting how to go outside. They have to go down steps and go out the doggy door. They're probably not going to do that. So I'm trying to teach them to go to the door and let me let them out. They've learned to go to the door. That's it. They've learned to go to the door, but at least they know where to go part way. But anyway, I think what you want to do, you want to see things. You want to think of your animal and imagine in pictures, if you can, what you'd like for them to do. And I mean, that's how I pick up things from animals sometimes. They usually don't just sit and have a conversation and say human-like words, although once in a while they can. Yes, and once in a while they can. But usually what you get is a feeling which you what's what I'm looking for? You translate it into words. You translate into emotion into words, but you also got to understand that they don't see the world the way we do either, because they don't. But yeah, you get the hold of that thought and you see it the way you need to see it, or you feel it, and then you see what happens. Like one time I had these two cats. I went to do this session for these people up in Tennessee, Kim. I believe that you was with me. And we went to our friend Kelly's, I think, and she took us some, I don't know where it was.
I have no memory of this.
I have no memory. I don't have any idea where I was, but it wasn't here. I don't know. That is scary to me because I have no idea where I was, but it wasn't around here. Anyway, she took me to this man and woman's house, and they had a couple of cats, and I did whatever it is I do, and we were leaving, and the two cats were looking at each other. They were not doing any weird cat things. They were just standing there, and I told them, I said, that cat is very agitated at this other cat, and that cat is thinking about smacking it silly, and they just poo-pooed me. Oh, no, they love each other, they get along, they never do that kind of stuff, and then within 30 seconds, that cat went over to exactly what I said, and I was vindicated. I told you. Now, how did I do that? It's like I didn't really get words. That cat wasn't telling me this, but I got the emotions from it, and then I got the images of it, and so I was able to kind of put the puzzle pieces together. That's the way I know how to teach you people stuff, is just give you a personal example.
Yeah, of course. Well, I remember a long time ago when I lived out there in Rutherford County, whenever you sent me the note about interspecies communication, I thought this is what you're talking about. I guess this wouldn't be.
I have no idea.
Anyway, this cat showed up at our house, and we lived way out in the boondocks. I mean, I don't even know where this cat came from, but we also had a lot of wildlife at the house, and these raccoons especially were like almost, matter of fact, they would come in the house. We didn't keep the door shut. And you told me that the raccoon told the cat to come to our house.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're talking about them not communicating with us, but with one another.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that happens. Obviously, I think it happens because I just told you. And I do think that they can absolutely, I hate to say the word telepathically because that seems to become a loaded word, but in what other way, I don't know how to use it. But yeah, I do think they do that. I know cats do it with other cats for sure, because they know the house to go to, or the lady who's going to give them the food. And it's usually going to be a lady that's going to feed your house, for example. They know, and I've had a vet actually confirm this, that all the cats in our neighborhood will know which house to go hang out at. They're going to get fed there. And it's like the cats spread the word amongst the others. But yeah, I do think they can communicate. I think that they can threaten a mouse in a house or something like that. I do.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because I just had this other cat show up, and he was so pitiful and so hungry and so hurt that I don't even know how he walked to our house from anywhere. But he made it.
He made it, and he's going to be fine now.
Do you think cats are more sensitive to spirits?
Yeah, cats, and I think actually RATS, I don't like that word even, but I think they actually can cross the line between worlds, you might say. They have a certain vibration that allows them to do that. They're a special, a higher vibrational animal. And I swear I'm sitting here thinking coyote. I feel there's a coyote somewhere out there right now. So evidently, maybe coyotes, the animals, may be a little more active right now. So maybe if anybody's hearing this, they maybe need to make sure that no pets are left outside for a coyote to get. But also people can be coyotes. I've told you 100 times how, these animal energies can represent parts of us, and they can loan their energies to extra energy. I don't know. I'm just kind of going with the flow. Anyway, go ahead.
So what does the trickster, what do you have to look out for with the trickster?
Well, that means that you have to kind of really see who a person is over time. You can't just take them for face value or the words that they use. If something sounds, the old saying, too good to be true, it is.
Yeah. Well, we missed out on an opportunity last week, and you sent this to me. I got it, I guess, about the time I got home. When we were doing this last week, it was the anniversary of the disappearance of those airplanes in the Bermuda Triangle, that very famous case. And just in case you don't remember, and I'd almost forgotten about this loomed so large for so long as this just unexplainable thing. And now we've had so much unexplainable thing.
I was just pointing out that Blanca there just reminded us that there's a Mandela Effect movie that came out, and it's exactly that. So you can look down in my comments and see a movie.
So it's a new movie.
Evidently, the Mandela Effect movie, 2019.
How interesting.
Release date December 6th.
How very interesting.
Okay, go ahead now.
Anyway, we're talking about the Bermuda Triangle, and that was the disappearance of those planes, and that was such a big deal because we just weren't used to, when this happened, of having supernatural things like that in the news, and now it's just kind of become something we see all the time. But anyway, in case you don't remember, it was in 1945, 5 U.S. Navy planes disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. They never found a trace of them. They searched for them for hours, for days actually, and then they sent another plane to look for them, and that one disappeared as well.
That's what gets me. That's what gets me. It's one thing when all those disappear, okay? But the rescue plane?
So I was just going to ask you, I just brought that up because I just wanted to see, what do you think about that?
There are power places on the earth, and I believe that is one of them, where 1,000, 10,000 things go through, nothing happens. That 10,001, another place just like it off of Japan somewhere. Yeah, there is. Look it up. So I think that there is a few places on the planet where things can go awry with gravity, with portal dimensions. A lot of famous people, remember Arthur Clarke? We don't remember, y'all don't remember him probably because you're younger, but he actually had gone through and his compass had went crazy because he was a pilot. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so there are people that went through and survived, but they had very bizarre things happen. And they get lost and nothing looks the same and blah, blah, blah. And even though, like I said, you can get the guy that knows the stuff, he'll sit down and explain this is what happened all logically, and maybe he's right, but maybe there's something going on there that's a little bit beyond our pay grade too. And I'll tell you, that's my pet peeve. And I actually imagine me saying this, and I've forgotten it, but here I'm saying it. When somebody has an experience and they see something and they're not an insane person and they have good judgment, they would be allowed, for example, to serve on a jury or do something in real world. They see something, they're aware of what they see. They actually have that. They tell you this, and they are not wrong in what they have told you, right? And then some rube over here that's never met you is all educated in this particular thought form or whatever, wants to tell you what it is you really saw, because that what you think you saw couldn't possibly be, and he knows what you really saw is this thing over here. He's explaining away what you saw in a way that makes sense to him. Therefore, he can sleep better at night because he's explained it in a way that is perfectly good for him. And it just galls me. Don't away somebody's experience with your education. You don't know. I mean, it's fine if somebody asks you, is there a way that makes sense to me or whatever, but I just see it happening where it just, somebody thinks that they know more than you do because they haven't been blessed with the particular vision or thing that you might have experienced. I don't know. I just thought I'd say that.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Well, you're welcome.
Karen had an interesting story about cats there at the museum in Old Fort. I encourage you guys to look at her comment there on Facebook, because she's told me that story before, and it's really neat. I wanted to follow up on what we're talking about, though, about the Bermuda Triangle or things disappearing. Sometimes we're on the receiving end of these things. There have been multiple times that people and objects have appeared out of seemingly nowhere, and nobody has any explanation of where they came from. There's one story, and I did not look this up, so I have no particulars to tell you other than this guy showed up on the street somewhere in Europe, and he was naked and speaking a language that nobody could figure out. And he ended up living out his life here. And once he did learn the language of the country where he showed up, he was able to explain to them where he came from, and it was not here.
I'll guarantee it. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But didn't you tell me years ago there was a story about a monkey that just came out thin air?
Yes, it was. I used to have a book that was just loaded with stuff like this. I believe, if I remember, I hope I'm not mashing up stories here, but there was this woman like hanging out clothes somewhere in her backyard, and this monkey just
there's a lot of things like that just come out of nowhere or go, as we talked about before, about the people that have just walked into oblivion. And it's just, I think there are portals, and golly bum, I think we just see I think too, we're programmed not to see stuff. No, we're programmed to see what we need to see that maintains our safety, our survival, our security, our ability to sleep at night. So we program ourselves maybe to see with blinders on because we can't cope with what we might see out here because we have not evolved to the point yet where we can make sense of all this stuff.
Yeah. Gosh, is it just me? I mean, we've been on for 45 minutes. It doesn't seem
No,
like
it never seems like it. It always seems to me like we've been on here 15 minutes. I'm always shocked.
I mean, time is really bizarro today, it seems especially. But I did want to share this story that you sent me about another Bigfoot sighting, not here this time, but in Oregon, which is kind of the hot spot for them. They've captured some video footage, but and there was a team of researchers there. A primatologist from the Florida International University was in charge of this study, and they think they got something on film, and also they got something on maybe this is the same thing, on a thermal camera. So it's just interesting. It's just more of this kind of thing where creatures that ain't supposed to be are. But what's so funny is this scholar immediately starts talking about apes. It's like,
well, maybe it is. I don't know. I think there's something there that is a little bit, for lack of a better word, magical. But then again, maybe it is. I know what got me about something that I read, and maybe that's an article where a guy who, knew about animals or lost creatures, whatever. But he said he had been standing like 3 feet away from it was a gorilla. It was a real gorilla in Africa, okay, and did not see this animal, which was 3 feet away because it didn't want to be seen. It was hiding in such a way and quite that he wasn't even aware that it was there for a long, long time. So I think that there could be, a mundane, not a scientific, but a mundane explanation as to why they've not been found, simply because they don't want to be. Having said that, I think it's also interesting where you have a lot of cases of these special creatures. There's a lot of also evidence of a lot of UFO activity. I didn't know that, and I found that out, and I thought, well, now that might explain a lot.
That's really interesting. This is something I ran across yesterday. I was watching a documentary. This was just kind of mentioned as an aside, but there's a group of kids that the FBI referred to as
not 9/11.
Okay, what happened was it right after 9/11, when the FBI put out the call for any kind of information, anything that might be relevant, a lot of parents showed up with artwork and things like that their kids had done prior to that. Once the event had happened, it was obvious what they were drawing, what they were conveying. And the FBI actually followed up on these and investigated. I mean, because they had a mandate, like follow every thread, and they did. And there was so many. I thought that was really interesting.
So they were actually having visions of what was happening and drawing it.
Little children, yes.
That is amazing, and it doesn't surprise me. It really does. I predicted that one too on tape, so I can say it. But I think sometimes once the die is cast, there are certain, there's maybe many paths that lead to certain points in our world, okay, in our choices, in our life path, and the humanity's path, and maybe these paths lead to these certain points of destiny. No matter how many paths you take, you're going to end up there. Anyway, once the die is cast, there's certain things going to happen. And I think maybe the die was cast, something was going to happen. And the people, especially the children who have not been taught to not listen to their own voice, were able to do that, to actually step into their own future and see what was coming. But maybe they just got the energy, the thoughts. I think it's increasingly interesting to me how all this energy is coming in, and so many more people are here for a higher purpose, to either help with the healing of the planet or to cause its eventual destruction, or both. I don't know, but I think that the young people, I'm telling you, they're not like you and me, and I mean this in a good way.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, we got serious so quickly, and since it's our last show before Christmas, I did want to ask you, and I want you to do like a flash reading at the end, like we did before, because I think that's really neat.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. But what's Dylan getting for Christmas? What's going on with him for Christmas time?
God, he's got his list, let me tell you.
What's on his list?
First, I get the Legos, certain Legos, and I mean certain Legos. He's very specific. Then you got your, what do you call those, Pokemon cards? Any kind, he says, because he likes to have more than one kind. I swear I just can't keep up. And the Transformers are next on the list, and those are the 3 highlights. But I also, speaking of highlights, I ordered him Highlights magazine today because I love those.
I remember those.
And that's like, if you don't like them, I will get to do the find the picture stuff. But I'm thinking, I'll be back. But actually, he had said a while back, he says, Gigi, I never get any mail. He says, like real mail that you get. And I got to thinking about that. And it's up through age 12. Those magazines are for age 3, and he's 11. So I thought, well, it's now or never, So he's 11 and a half. So I thought I'd just go ahead and let him get something in the mail that way, and maybe he'll enjoy it. But yeah,
that's good.
Of course, I could get him a feather boa and he'd probably thrill to death because that's how he rolls.
Here's the thing: kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Mail him a feather boa.
Oh my God, that actually sounds like a good idea. Honestly, he does. I mean, he's sometimes disturbing, but mostly it's
I thought you were going to tell us something really bizarre that he was asking for.
No, he's asking for boy toys, mundane boy toys, except for he'd like in the mail, which wasn't on his Christmas list. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, he likes to dress up. He loves to dress up in anything that he can find, and the weirder the better. Oh my God, he puts together outfits. He puts on like a fur, this band. It's like a ear band thing that somebody made me. He likes to put on his chef hat and then put the fur band around it to decorate it, to jazz it up, just whatever. And yeah, he likes to wear a chef hat. He likes to wear a fez. And, he's...
When he does open his cafe, please let me know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Okay. If you are in the mood, since you're in the zone, and we're not going to be together again till after the new year.
That must be sad.
That's just 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
It feels like a very, very long time.
Just a few weeks. Anyway, if we all came to you together for a group reading, a quickie, what would you tell us today?
Oh, by the way, Shannon just said she shared this. Yeah, thank you, people. When you share it, I really appreciate that. Please share away. And that makes me very happy to see that people liked it or care enough about it to do that. And of course, if you don't like it, don't worry about it. But anyway, I think the energy is going to be very erratic for the world, and I guess at time, but for the near future. So go with the flow, just go with the flow. It's like I can do anyway, right? But there's a time, let me put it this way, for planning, and there's a time for inspiration. And right now it's going to be a time to have inspiration, let me put it that way, or a time to come up with new ideas, or a time to be spontaneous, or a time to be expressive, you might say. And then I think we're going to go more into a time where you want to be getting your ducks in a row, getting order, getting things done, getting organized. But all you got to do really is just go with your gut, and I believe that's what's going to happen anyway. Now, having said that, I do think that there could be nations could be acting out more than usual. So nothing that happens with countries acting out is going to surprise me at all. I feel like there's probably going to be I feel like some activity over the water. I don't know what that's about. Maybe could just be some more of that craziness of that test firing of missiles and stuff. But I don't know. It feels like for some reason, things that happen on the ocean seem to be taking more importance. I have no earthly idea what that means either, but it's just a random thing that hit me, so I'm going to throw it out there. I feel like people are suddenly going to be turning around as one and looking at an event or looking at an idea or something. It's weird. It's just in. You hear people like walking around minding their own business, doing what they do, and then it's like all of a sudden something gets everybody's attention, and they stop and they turn to see whatever that thing is that's getting their attention, whether it's a news flash or an asteroid or just somebody releasing some new song that everybody has to see. I don't know. And I do think that music is just calm, to soothe the beast. Maybe music could be used in a way to not only make somebody give up like Norwega guy down there, but maybe to help calm the masses, a certain music, a certain vibration. This just then, I feel like there could be a release of certain kinds of vibration on the planet that could help keep people calmer. Like we're almost being treated like shelter dogs, but I'm all for being calmer. You can't make good decisions when you're freaked out and anxiety ridden. I'm just getting weird. I don't know what I'm even talking about.
So is that energy, can you feel, is it coming from here or from the outside?
Both. It's coming from both. Expect a giant step in technology to be coming up very soon too, to be revealed. A giant step in knowledge and technical knowledge of some sort that would affect all humanity, by the way. Also think that you want to like hide from people who got bad tempers, because they're probably not going to be able to hold their tongue too easily. And I think that often people just do not understand the effect they have on others. They don't understand the weight that words, carry. But I do feel it's weird. I don't know what it is, but it's like I see a busy town and everybody just suddenly stops and looks to see what it is that's coming in. And again, this could be symbolic of an idea, but anyway, I do feel turning point now through January, June. I wanted to say January, but I want to say June. I don't know why. So anyway, have that, and I don't guess I got anything else to add to that.
Okay.
But y'all can come see me and ask me, I guess. If I get anything else, I'll post it. Let me do that. And I don't know. It seems like I had something else. Oh, yeah. Shana's talking about how to clean out your closet, spiritual and physically. That's very good, because
That's a good idea.
I've been doing that like crazy lately, and seems like I'm getting nowhere fast. It's like I don't have so much time. But as you're cleaning out and getting rid of stuff in your house, for example, that you no longer need, you can also be doing that emotionally. You can revisit things that, this no longer serves me. Why am I holding on this? Why am I angry about this? And bring music in your life. I'm going around this house singing that bluegrass gospel daily, because it's what gets me through, okay, some days. So it means something to me. It might mean zero to you. Find your music. Find what, I want to break into a Mama Cass impersonation right now, but I won't.
Do it.
Oh, no.
I love Mama Cass.
I would not do any justice to that. So, but to sing your own special song, and you have to do that, I think, in order to find your true balance. And that's what it's all about too. It's about finding your balance. And remember, in relationships, okay? Remember this. When you get with somebody and you think it's going to be really smooth, and it might, especially after you wear each other down after a while. But a lot of times, it's like if it gets so smooth, I think it kind of loses something too. It's kind of like you need that balance. And how can you get that balance if you're all like this, see? But if you are who you are and they who are they are, there's going to be maybe a little bit of this, And so I think that's how you maintain your own personal integrity, your own self, but you also maintain a balance. Got like this, you're more likely to do like that, fall. So I don't know why I want to say that. Relationship issues evidently are going to be highlighted, and endings, and maybe beginnings too, but there could be a lot of endings. And that's not necessarily, sometimes it's time, I'm done, I'm cooking beans today. My beans are going to be done. I got to turn them off. I'm enjoying the smell. I'm enjoying the anticipation of the beans and Duke's mayonnaise and maybe a little cornbread and whatever else was going to go in there. But you got to have your balance, and you got to have, sometimes the beans are done, you eat the beans, you put them aside, you get on with your life. It's going to be bad tonight, I'm going to tell you though. But having said that,
What?
Gosh, it's good for your heart. Anyway, I feel like endings make way for beginnings. And sometimes you end something and then you come back. But when you come back up here and you see things even better. I don't have nothing else to say about that.
Okay. Well, I guess happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
And big changes, people. I don't know. I think it's like we're on the yellow brick road and we think we're in the haunted forest, but we're not. It's still on up there. But the thing is, and this,
are we still headed to the haunted forest?
Sorry, yeah, this is just.
I don't want to go to the haunted forest.
You're going. It's like you're the one that chose before you came to this planet to get on that yellow brick road, okay? But remember, as long as you stay on the path that you're supposed to stay on, and you will know it's the path because you won't have no choice about the thing. I believe you'll just be on it. And I apologize for all that beeping over there. It will take you it'll take you through the forest. You're going to go. You're going to meet the witch. It's going to happen. The witch being whatever it is, maybe that scares you in here. But the good news is, and I'm supposed to tell you this, don't forget the story. The witch gets defeated. You get to go home, and it's a good thing. Some people stay in Oz because it's a good thing there too. Everybody gets a promotion, people. Everybody gets a promotion. You just stay on the path and you get to where you're going. And the flying monkey that was going to do you in, and that ends up giving you a ride home. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm just a messenger, but have that or whatever. And now I believe, did you sign us off already?
I think we're done. I want to say to Blanca, she said, Happy New Year's, Kim, who don't do Facebook. I ain't going to do Facebook in the new year either.
You're lost, girlie. But anyway, love y'all. I actually do love you all, and I love you. I
Me
do.
too.
So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and come and see me. Call first. Here we go.
That looks very ghosty.
Yeah, here we go. It does what it does.